Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fair Game. We are now on the return trip home from the second mission, which means there's only 3 episodes left of this. Yeah, completely unrelated, I want to take the time to apologize for episode 5 because I sounded high as fuck during it. The reason why is because I was high as fuck during it. Alright, not really high as fuck, but basically between my job and a whole bunch of other stuff lately, I've gotten home dead tired and my tendonitis is acting up like crazy. So you can probably hear that in my voice during that last episode. Apologies. I have some other interesting news courtesy of Mercenary Cobra 1, who did some additional searching and found something very interesting about the NES version of Infiltrator. It's actually a pseudo-sequel. See, the first Infiltrator was quite successful on most of the computers that it was released on at the time, including Commodore, ZX Spectrum, and Amstrad. See, the original Infiltrator was a very successful game at the time it was released, on the Commodore, on the Amstrad, and of course, the ZX Spectrum. It was popular enough to warrant a pseudo-expansion, which wasn't really that common at the time, called Infiltrator 2 the next day. The Infiltrator 2 missions are the NES missions. And I'm not just talking same missions, I'm talking the exact same map layout. Aside from the types of guards that you encounter, and a couple of the inventions being absent in the NES version because they're basically not necessary, everything else is identical between the two versions. That is amazing to me. To me, it always felt like Infiltrator was missing something, backstory-wise. Like, the intro section of every mission basically covers that Jimbo and the Mad Leader are at least moderately acquainted. Hence this whole, "you'll never stop me this time, McGibbets, ha ha ha," thing. Wait a minute, why the hell did I give him an approximation of the accent of my friend Mamet? I totally should have gone with the Skeletor accent. Oh well, lessons for later. As is the case for most of the return trips in Infiltrator, the return trip in this one is identical to all the other return trips, in that you have the same exact destination and all you gotta do is make it back and land, no need for whisper mode. In fact, the only real difference between this and the previous one is the chance of running into rogue pilots and the fact that the base is slightly farther away. Actually, that's kind of in a running theme with the helicopter missions in general, is the only real difference is distance and chance of rogue pilots. And since I mentioned Mercenary Cobra 1 earlier in the episode, it behooves me to mention him again out of nowhere. He did do a bit of searching around for potential games that were like Infiltrator, and unfortunately he's kind of out of his area of expertise for this one because he's never really been that great at infiltration-type games. He did mention Saboteur, and I may have to check that one out later. I don't know if it's in any way related to the Atari Saboteur, which was an unreleased prototype game that did wind up getting shipped with the Atari Flashback, but that's a conversation for later. Man, I'm leaving the door open on so much this episode. Interestingly, my friend John pointed out something very hilarious to me, and it involves Jimbo's helicopter. The in-game text refers to it as the DHX, and refers to it as an attack helicopter. It wasn't until I took a closer look at it, at least on the title screen and on the box of the Commodore version, that I realized that the actual model of helicopter is based either loosely or directly off the Comanche. Now, those of you not familiar with the technical aspects of it might be wondering what the fuck the relevance of that is. Basically, the Comanche had the operating name when it was still in development of LHX. In other words, they clearly based it off of that particular helicopter. Interestingly, that helicopter was mostly seen as an overly expensive failure. Rather fitting for this game, actually. The rather interesting thing is that while it looks pretty much exactly like a Comanche in all of the concept art of the game, and on the cover of the box, and also on the title screen as you saw, with some variation of course, it looks absolutely nothing like it on a world map. I'm serious, take a look at a Comanche sometime and then look at the world map model in Infiltrator and they could not possibly be more different. I sort of wonder if the implication is that the helicopter itself is a master of disguise as well. Like, it doesn't remotely look like it does on the world map, but somehow Jimbo can make it look like it is. Maybe that's how it successfully lands at the enemy base. But then why would it need whisper mode? Hell, I'm kind of surprised Jimbo isn't just using a Diplomancer build. Enough ranks and bluff, you don't need combat skills. Alright, that's quite enough terrible jokes directly out of TG for one day. Or at least one episode. We're approaching our friendly base now, which means we're just about done with this particular mission. Please return your trays to the upright position, and don't remove your seatbelt until the helicopter has come to a full and complete stop. Thank you for flying Air Jaimas, and this has been a terrible in-flight joke. Anyway, looking forward to next episode where we're finally starting the last mission and beginning our trek towards the enemy base to do a mission wherein the stakes rise rather significantly out of nowhere with no real pattern behind it. Because why the hell not? Anyway, I'm off to work. I will see you gentlemen later, and we will hopefully finish this up within the week.